Hi, I'm Amin Hajee and I'm from India, but I'm in Birmingham right now in the BritAsia TV office. I used to dance professionally when I was 14 years old, and I have an identical twin. And the two of us used to break dance, and that was a very unique thing for India, and we had picked it up from whatever we saw on video. And then somebody called Jalal Aga, a very known actor, had seen me perform with my twin and offered us a part in a film he was directing. It was called Goonj. Kumar Gaurav, Juhi Chawla were part of that film, and that was around 1986 or 88, and I've been in the industry since then. After acting in the films I did, I just felt that I wanted to do a little more with my stuff, and I felt acting was getting a little monotonous. And then I met Ashutosh Gowarikar, my director, who directed me in Lagan, and we got talking, and he said, "Why don't you work on a script with me? It's called Swades. It has Shah Rukh Khan in it. Would you write it for me?" So I said, I mean, there are 1,000 other actors who are ready to give their right arm to work with you, and why is it that you're choosing me? So he said, "No, I just feel that you've got it in you, and why don't you try working on the screenplay with me?" And so I wrote my first film, Swades, and at that time Amir Khan was producing the film, so I was very lucky to have got that opportunity, and I learned all my stuff from Ashutosh and Amir, and it helped me get into writing, and I enjoyed the process. I realized I'm enjoying writing even more than I've enjoyed acting. And being in front of the camera is great, but being behind it and seeing what you create coming to life, and the respect you kind of feel for your own self, because you see that you're like actually playing God, and the closest you can get to playing God is become a writer. You give a character a name, you give him nuances, you give him traits. You can kill him or her, you can get her to come back in a reincarnated way, you can give her different avatars. So for me, writing was the best thing that I enjoyed doing, and I think telling stories is something I realized I have always loved to do. So then I wrote that film, and I wrote 10 other films. I enjoyed writing each one of them. Vikram Bhatt was one of the best experiences I enjoyed working with as a director, because I wrote my maximum films with him. And they all went on to do pretty well. So I felt very proud. And then again, I felt I'm beginning to tire writing films. Let me try and direct one. Because I feel that if I have written it, I have envisaged it, I have felt it, I can tell that story. So I decided to debut as a director, and this is a script I wrote, and I narrated it to my best friends, and Ashutosh Gowarikar and Amir Khan heard it and told me, "I mean, you should debut with this. It's a good script. It has legs." So taking their encouragement, I said I will try, and for the last 4.5 years I have been trying to make this film. Being a director has been an amazing experience, but to get here, to find somebody to believe in you, to find a producer who's going to put his money behind you, and a lot of money, and find actors who will believe in your vision, has been an amazing experience. And I can only say that I'm glad I took the step, though many times in the night while I went to bed I thought, will I ever make a film, or will this ever happen? And then you don't want to go back to writing, because you feel you've moved on and you want to try. So I wrote a lot of scripts while I was waiting, but I didn't want anyone else to direct them. So I hope that after I make this one film, I will be making more films. Okay, this film that we are making is a whodunit, or I would call it a bloody romance. So it's a love story with a twist. We've got different realms in this particular script, and it goes from the perception of a person and how he looks at the world. Or the best example I can give you is how we all feel when we read a book. And sometimes we live that book, even though we are not reading it at that time. or we're doing something else, things of that story start to look real in the world that we are in when we are at work, or we think of those little subtle parts that he has written so well, and we imagine it coming alive. So it's that kind of a world where we go from one realm to the other, and it's about a vigilante who does good things, but not all rightly, and he breaks the law if he has to. And so it's a story that goes from pulp fiction to reality, to love and pain, and a lot of emotions there. But I hope I can tell the story well. And the best thing about it for me is it's not just one dimension. It is multi-dimensional, and I feel that's going to be the challenging part, and that's the most exciting. This film was written and is supposed to be shot and told in India. It's a story about an Indian couple, and it's a story about India. But we wanted to shoot it in a hill station, and I live in a hill station in India. So let's say I've been there, done that. My wife is English, and so her name is Charlotte, and I come to Bristol very often. And whenever I see some parts of England, I always think it's a lot like India, but a little different. And Spielberg always says, give me the same thing, only little different. So I thought Scotland would look very beautiful. It's like Panjgani is where I stay, and it's a little hill station, and Scotland is like Panjgani on steroids. So it's huge, and the same beautiful mountains, but only bigger. The water, the lakes, the lochs as they call them, only huger. So I thought, why not use a location that also gives the audience something similar to look at, but only different and only a little more beautiful and bigger. So I think Scotland is going to be a great place. I have gone and done a recce there, driven 2,100 miles in the last 8 days. My wife Charlotte has been taking me around, show me that place, and it's breathtaking. And so I think we've made a good decision. We found exactly what we were looking for. So it looks the same, only a little different. So fingers crossed. See, actually, I think Bollywood, or rather the Indian film industry, has now started to come into its own. We used to tell stories at one time for the larger section of our audiences, which needed more fantasy, or like we say, more magic and less logic, because their lives were really challenging them. So our principal motive used to be to entertain. Now with multiplexes and let's call them the gentry also wanting to see films and paying good money to see them, we are starting to tell stories that we would have always wanted to tell, but we couldn't. So now I feel that my story would be similar to the kind of films that are being made in and around me. I would really tell the audiences today that in the next couple of years, we are going to be telling stories that would be challenging, audiences all over the world, and entertaining an international audience. We have the quotient of logic and magic in our cinema has changed. I would say that the logical quotient has grown, and we've enjoyed that. Actually, we've been praying for it and waiting for it. And of course, it may have been a smaller section of our audiences, but they waited for it. Today, that audience and that section has grown. So now, I would say fasten your seatbelts and wait for great films coming out of India. And my film, I feel, is going to be a kind of film that I hope sets a new benchmark in the whodunit genre and the space that I'm trying to, probe and play with. And actually, it is going to be a very big challenge for me. And I remember my friend Amir Khan telling me, Amin, the most insecure person on a set is a director, because he's trying to tell a story. And now I can feel that insecurity, despite having written it, despite having known every scene and every dialogue of my film by heart. I can tell you that it is really an amazing adventure I'm going on. Some mornings I wake up excited, some mornings I wake up scared, but I tell myself, you're getting to do what you love and what you've wanted to all your life. So it's an amazing feeling to be here, to be coming close to making my first film, and I would need all the love and luck that I can get. So think of me in your positive and send me your positive energies. After this film, I would like to take a break and just chill, because I have been working on it for the last 4.5 years. But after this, I will hopefully direct. I've got 11 scripts that I have written, and I'm working on them. And I would like to make more films, but one more thing I would like to do after this film, and that is produce films for directors like me who waited or have to wait for 5 years to make a film, and help them tell their stories. And because I've understood the pain of standing and waiting for people to believe in you, and so I would hope to be someone who I could kind of help others make their films and produce it for them, and tell stories and just continue my journey. And guys, thank you very much for watching, and believe in your dreams, and even if you fail, you should fail trying something you wanted to achieve rather than doing something you didn't want to in the first place. Dare to dream. All the best.